Thank you all for actually joining us today. I'd like to, as you've seen from the program, I'm Alfred Tutla and I'm the person that's facilitating the social event today. What the social event is about is it's basically an informal interview with researchers that are supported by the South African Medical Research Council through the Research Capacity Development Division. Now, I actually just want to invite a couple of them. We have Wundli, that's I can actually see you sitting there. Come to the front. Brendan, if you can also just join us, and then there's Nteve, if you can also just come through. So I think as a starting point, it would be good to just get a sense of where they actually come from and what they're actually about. And I think let's just start with Brendan. Brendan, you from Cape Town, and you were in the 5% students in high school. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you moved into the research field.
So, as you said already, I'm from Cape Town. My entire family is from Cape Town, although most people believe I'm not. I've gotten some weird comments, like I look like a New Zealander, or most recently, I look like the Spur people.
Interesting. And Wundli, you actually grew up where I grew up in Alexander Township.
Yeah.
And just tell us, how did your background actually impact your life?
So I was born in the famous Baragwanath Hospital in Soweto with a twin sister, so I didn't come alone. And then at some point in our childhood, we moved to Alexander Township, which is where I lived until I was in high school, and then from there, Cape Town to study at the University of Cape Town. I think growing up in the township really inspired me to want to look at healthcare solutions that don't only address healthcare problems, but societal issues that drive these healthcare challenges that people face. So it really gives me a lot of passion in the work that I do, to come up with solutions that can impact people not only in terms of their healthcare, but their general well-being.
Great, thank you. And Nteve, you grew up in Limpopo and then you went to Medunsa. You're at the South African Medical Research Council, but you actually have quite a bit of history with the SMRC. You were with us as a research fellow, and then you went to Itamba Labs, and now you're back with the SMRC. So tell us a bit about that journey.
Okay. I'm actually from Limpopo and was born in Venda. I studied my primary and secondary there. And then after that, I went to the University of Limpopo to enroll with the BSc degree. Then after that, I went to Medunsa to do master's, honors and master's degree. Then after that, I applied the DST NRF internship program. And then they placed me here, the MRC, as the host institution. Then the mentor that I was working with motivated me to apply for the PhD research training program. That's where I got the RCD funding. From there, I finished my PhD through UWC, and then after that, I joined the Itamba Labs, NRF Itamba Labs, where I was doing the postdoc under the PDP funding. And the reason why I went there and come back is because Itamba Lab was more on the production. We produce more of the materials. Then I decided to say, no, this is not really in line with what I wanted. Then I had to come and approach Johan, and then he gave me opportunity to come and join as a postdoc so that I can do more on the application and innovation.
Great, great. Yeah. So in terms of, you've spoken about inspiration, but your inspiration also does come from other places. So let's say, I think your father was a science teacher.
When I was growing up, my father was a science teacher, a biology teacher. And then when you come back from school, having homework and assignment, and then when you ask him about the assignment so that he can assist you, he actually comes, let's say in the class you were taught about the frog, or by that time they used to teach us about the frog, the fish, and all those. Then he will come actually with a live frog, and then show you, this is what they were talking about.
Yeah.
This is, so that thing build, what can I say? It makes me to be interested in science. And then I grow up like, I want to know more about life sciences. So that's where the motivation in science started. It started at home with my father motivating me to do science.
And that interest in science, Brendan, you focus on in the field of pharmacogenetics. I said that correctly, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay. So why that interest, and what do you think would be your contribution to that field?
Well, it started with me thinking about my mixed ancestry. And that's really what got me interested in genetics in the first place. So I wanted to know more about why is it that I look like so many different people? And from doing an honors in ancestry and anthropological studies, I then decided to move into the genetic basis of disease and pharmacogenomics. Really, that has been my only goal. I've realized now recently that I was always meant to be there because it's my passion.
Great. And what do you actually hope to contribute?
Well, we hope to contribute in the sense of developing diagnostics, screening mechanisms, and optimizing treatment therapies.
Okay. And Vundli, you've also got quite a long history with the Medical Research Council.
Yes.
You did your master's and you did your PhD, which you completed, I think, around 2017.
Yes.
You now recently got a postdoc that you've been a year that you've actually done that program. Just also tell us about that and how you see the SMRC has supported you through this process.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I came here in 2009, so it's been quite a while. And at the time, I was completing my master's, and then I went on to my PhD studies. The Medical Research Council provided me with my first travel grant because I studied abroad for my PhD in Norway. So my first trip to Norway, Tabi was there to support me, my trip there, and then subsequent to that trip, I was able to get funding from other agencies to support my trips up and down between Cape Town and Bergen in Norway. And at the same time, the National Health Scholars Program was initiated, which was a huge help because then I could cordon off a percentage of my time to focus on my PhD studies and not only work on the PhD at night or over the weekends, which has also been a great help. So in terms of MRC supporting me through my milestones, it's been integral. And now, as a postdoc fellow, it also gives me time off to focus on my own studies, which I think is important. You need to focus as a scientist for you to actually generate good quality research. So I would say it's been a huge support in my career as a scientist.
Okay. And you, a person that kind of values, you talk quite a bit in terms of the interviews that we've done with you before about kind of like living a balanced life. And you have really quite an interesting personality, an outdoorsy personality. And what are the sort of activities that you do? And why do you think it's important to have that balance, given the line of work that you're in?
I must give some of the credit to my twin sister. She's in the banking world, and there they focus a lot also on balance. So she always says to me, Vundli, you overwork. You need to get some life. And so she registers me for a lot of long distance races. I run with her. We also do hikes. And then I love photography. So I've got both the scientific side and the arty side. So I love taking photos at functions, friends, family functions. So I think it's very important for us to have balanced lives because I think each aspect of our lives feeds into the next. If you're exhausted, it affects your creativity as a scientist. It affects your resilience. So you need to have a balanced life. And you know, the MRC as researchers here, we advocate for mental health, that people need to take care of themselves. I think we need to also take care of ourselves as the scientists and not only say it in terms of words, but in how we live our lives. The people need to see that we're living balanced lives and that we have sound mental health.
Okay, thank you. And Brendan, you've also, you've received support through RCT, Research Capacity Development, sorry. Just tell us about that, your association with that particular division and the broader SAMRC.
So I first received support in the form of what Bhavesh was talking about earlier, the MRC internship program when I started my PhD. And we've grown together since then, all the way through my PhD and now as a postdoc. Can't be anything but grateful to all the MSc.
Okay. And what is the most interesting part of your work? Given that it's actually quite a technical field.
The most interesting part for me is not the statistics.
So what is the most interesting part?
No, the interesting part is actually drawing associations from the genetic information that you get and applying it to the medicine.
And then Devi, can you also just tell us also about your relationship with RCD and the broader SMRC? I mean, you have spoken about that journey that you actually took with, being with the SMRC and then Untitled Labs and then now being back with us. But also just expand on that.
Okay, I joined the MRC and then Dr. Martin supported me for PhD. And I was in a PhD research training internship program. And during that time when I was doing PhD, the RCD used to take us to different workshops. So she would give us the opportunity to tell her or to tell the division the skills that you think you need. So most of the courses I've done with Tabi, and it helps me through my PhD and makes the PhD to be easier. If you do communication skills and presentation skills, when you go to conferences, it becomes easier because of that background. So I also thank her for supporting me also for the post-PhD, for the postdoc program, to also establish my background in the research and innovation.
You've spoken about science communication and capacity development. Why do you think those are actually important for an organization such as the South African Medical Research Council?
I think that gives a platform for a young researcher to grow as well. And with all this funding that Tabi is giving us from that, it can make you to escalate from one level to another, and then you can able to establish your career.
And you, Brendan, about science communication or even research translation, what are your thoughts on that and why do you think it's important?
Well, the research can't stop here. It can't stop with us. It's important to grow. And the only way we're going to do that is by creating capacity. And to translate what we have as knowledge to them, that they can use it and improve it and grow from there.
And Vundli, your thoughts?
When I think about research translation, I'm also thinking about the participants that we enroll in our studies, that it's important that we give them back, in terms of knowledge that we generated. The knowledge needs to also impact on policy, because then it will impact on people's lives. So I think as researchers, we get a lot of training in terms of how to write a research grant, how to publish, but many of us don't know how to then take that information and give it to a lay person so that it can also improve their lives.
Thank you. And do you have any message for young scientists? What would you actually say to inspire, let's say, somebody that's interested in science to basically to pursue this line of work?
I think my journey started when I was a young child. I always asked why. I was always that child, why? And once you've answered the one question, I'd move to the next. So I would say they should never stop being inquisitive, because that's what generates research questions, and that's what actually brings solutions to gaps that are out there. The other key thing for me is mentorship, that you can't do it alone. You need people to mentor you through the whole process, from a junior researcher to an established, seasoned researcher. So try as hard as you can to align yourself with people that you admire, that believe in you and that will support you going forward. So I would say those are my two key pieces of advice.
And you, Brendan, just in terms of mentorship, is there anything that you'd like to actually share with us? Why do you think it's actually important? And is there anybody that's being a particular mentor to you?
In terms of mentorship, it is the most important driving factor when you step into the scientific world. I've had an excellent mentor for the past 9 years, I think, if not longer, and he's really been the motivation for me to continue.
And Nteve, you work at BRIP, and I mean, there's a huge student cohort there. Just in terms of mentorship, what are your thoughts about that? And I'm sure, I mean, you work with Johan. What has been kind of like the level of support?
When I joined BRIP, I was happy to get a mentor like Professor Lowe. We have different, what do you call it, meetings, journal club meetings. So if you have a good mentor, you can able to what can I say? You can able to participate in such meetings like that. Mm-hmm. So the other meeting that the message that I can give is that if you have an opportunity, grab it and use it. And then the only way to do it is to identify your patient and then put effort on it, because there's nothing which is impossible. Everything is there for us. We just need to access it. And then again, the thing that I always tell myself is that if I cannot do a greater thing, I can do a small thing in a greater way. So everything is there for us. To be a RCD grant holder is a big opportunity. Like Prof. Bartley said in the morning, that use that opportunity. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
And just a general question to all the interviewees. Do you have any message for the people that attended the meeting today?
I think I learned a lot today, and I enjoyed learning about the different streams of the RCD program. I also learned a lot from the more senior researchers in terms of what they're doing, and have also gotten some opportunities to collaborate. So I'm enjoying that opportunity. In terms of the message, I would say we need to do it again. This shouldn't be the last time we're doing it. I think it's critical that we keep doing this, because oftentimes we read articles by these well-known researchers and we don't have opportunities to engage with them. But this forum provides us with an opportunity to meet them in a more intimate and relaxed space, and that facilitates networks. Yeah.
Great, and with you, Brandon?
Well, first I'd like to say thank you to everyone for the opportunity. And just to touch on what was said in today's talks, stay curious. That's my only message. That's why we're here.
And Teve?
I just want to thank everybody. I didn't know we have this lot of RCD platforms that you can, when you're a postdoc, there's different grants that you can apply. So that, I didn't know much about it. So I thank you so much, Tavi, and I thank you so much, Johan, for accepting me to make me to join your unit. So now I have a different mentality. I have a different thinking. I can plan in a different way, and I know there's a backup somewhere that I can able to access the funding.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think that actually concludes the set of questions.